starting in 2000 with 9/11, a little worse in the financial crisis where a lot of them accused.
Apparently, we missed a devastating Schumer interview. This appearance on All In with Chris was devastating for Schumer. Ignoring the criticism from all corners of the party, can't articulate a strategy. It's bizarre. He thinks his 2017 seems oblivious to how Musk's unlimited money changes the incentive structure for GOP lawmakers. All right, let's look at it. Chris Hayes.
It's good to have you here, Senator.
He's got some smoke.
The book, which I read over the last 24 hours, and I enjoyed.
Oh my God, 37 minutes long. Oh no, did Chris ambush Schumer by claiming he was gonna make him talk about the book, and then the entire purpose of this was to actually address the understandable criticisms? That right there is the strongest fedayeen of the Hasaanabi heads out there. Okay, right now he's leveled up. He's one of the best.
But you know, when you're a leader, sometimes you have to do things that you know are right, despite the consequences. I've always said to people in politics, the higher up you climb, the more fierce the winds blow. The only thing that keeps you from being blown off course is your internal gyroscope.
Chuck Schumer also doesn't stand for anything except, obviously, he is, he's a lot of choice words for people who protest against Israel. There's that. But outside of that, he also has no charisma. I can't believe that the Democrats looked at this last election cycle and were like, we're devoid of policy, we're devoid of charisma, we're devoid of leadership. So lo and behold, who is the guy that's going to be responsible for the Democratic Party? Who's going to be the guy that we use as our North Star? Fuck Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer.
To play some of the criticism, again, not from like backseat drivers or not from me on cable news, but people like Hakeem Jeffries or Nancy Pelosi. Take a listen.
Look, Chuck and I disagreed as it relates to the approach and outcome.
I think there is a deep sense of outrage and betrayal. And this is not just about progressive Democrats. This is across the board, the entire party.
I still support Senator Schumer as leader, but I think the only way that we are going to be effective as a caucus is...
Bro, he didn't even cut away from his face. They're making him watch this while he's licking his lips, and you get to see it. You get to see him watch this humiliating compy of members of his own party being like, yeah, he kind of sucks dick. What are you going to do about it? He's like, come on, Chuck, react to it. That's awesome.
When Chuck Schumer had leverage here to say...
I like that his reaction is slowly getting worse. Bro, put the glasses on. You can't see. You can't see who's saying it.
We need A, B, C, and D for the Democratic Party and force the Republicans to meet him halfway on those issues.
I myself don't give away anything for nothing. And I think that's what happened the other day.
They said, okay, he said leverage, I think it was the governor.
And Nancy Pelosi said, I myself don't give away anything for nothing. I think
read it back. Read it back, Chris. Read it back to him. What did Nancy say, Chris?
I think people were upset with you, and people were very upset with you because you had led people to believe that, no, I'm going to vote against
Okay,
it.
well, let me explain why first the shutdown is terrible. People ought to know that. The executive branch, in this case, Musk, Doge, and this horrible guy Vogt, who have no concern for working people, would have had sole power to determine what opens and what closes. They determine what is essential. You can't go to court. So on day 2, get rid of SNAP and food for hungry kids. It's not essential. Cut back on Medicaid and health care. Within 2 weeks, everyone would have been howling. Furthermore, it's even worse.
Oh, my God, bro. Bro, you are, oh God, please step aside, dude. Yeah, people would be howling. You know at who? The Trump admin for refusing to concede. It's crazy because like his own audience, his own base of support don't want this. His own base of support is saying like, fight back as the Trump administration. Meanwhile, you just gave them the legal jurisdiction to be able to do all of those things down the line. And they immediately cut key expenditures from like mental health treatment and shit. What are you talking about? That was in the bill that you allowed to pass through.
There are people in your own party that are saying, look, it's time for you to go. They no longer trust your leadership. They want somebody else in there. What do you say about that?
Here's what I say.
In your own party saying
yes.
that's to go.
Here's what I'm saying. I'm the best leader for the Senate. We have a lot of leaders. You know, when you don't have a president, there's not one leader of the party. There are lots of them. We have a lot of good people. But I am the best at keep winning Senate seats. I've done it in 2005. Just in 2020, no one thought we'd take back the Senate. Under my leadership, we took it. So we now are executing.
You're not going anywhere.
We have a.
You lost seats. What are you talking about? Why are you the minority leader right now? What does that mean? You were the majority leader, now you're the minority leader.
May I hold up the book?
Yes,
let's get to the
This
book.
is why you were here.
Yes.
Because
That stays news, anti-Semitism.
Yes. Yeah, it's coming out at a time where you said you never thought you'd have to write this book, but you never thought anti-Semitism would be as bad as it is. You
Yes.
said for many non-Jewish people, it's alarming, but it's not a real problem and not a priority. And to that you say,
Yeah, Jewish people, we carry 5,000 years of history on our back. Conor Cruz O'Brien, the great Irish poet, said anti-Semitism is a light sleeper. When things get bad, often, almost in too many societies, it turns on the Jews. You know, I was brought up between 1950, I was born in 1950. For the first 50 years, the Jewish people, we call it the Golden Medina. Jews did great in America. Like everybody else, we were advancing up the ladder. There was very little anti-Semitism because the pall of the Holocaust hung over America, and people realized what could happen. But starting in 2000 with 9/11, a little worse in the financial crisis, where a lot of them accused.
Yeah. When I think of bigotry that was supercharged after 9/11, I think of the Jews did 9/11 conspiracies and not Islamophobia that became government mandated so that we could justify the atrocities that we committed over there. That's crazy, dude. I don't know. God damn, dude. That is insane. Progressive, by the way. Progressive Party, by the way. You should be embarrassed. It's crazy. Yeah, who could forget the first hate crime post 9/11, which was, of course, a Jewish man. Oh, wait, it wasn't. It wasn't even a Muslim man, actually. It was a Sikh person that the psychopath thought was Muslim.
Finally, I'm aiming it at my left, my people on the left, my friends on the left. I've always been a progressive. What we've always seen anti-Semitism on the right. You saw those people at 9/11, at January 6th wearing shirts that more than 6 million. But now a lot of it's trickled over to the left, and that's bad too.
Yeah, the real fear is the leftist anti-Semitism. Oh my God. Also, here's another thing that he said on The View. The women and the baby's heads chopped off brutally. Chuck Schumer is still spreading atrocity propaganda on his book tour. While promoting a book about anti-Semitism, he's literally spreading the lies that have been used to justify genocide.
Senator, I want to talk to you about your book. Why are you writing it now?
Okay, good. So I was born in 1950, and it was sort of called the golden era for Jews in America and in our whole history.
It was the golden era for Jews because all the bad Jews were getting blacklisted for being communist. That's why it was the golden era for Jews. All the Jews that were getting blacklisted were the bad Jews that Chuck didn't like. You know, the socialists and the communists and those who were sympathetic to the plight of marginalized people. You know, those Jews, they were getting threatened with deportation. They were getting blacklisted. Government commissions were being created. Golden era for Jews. Yeah.